Hello and welcome to our notes on domain and range from graphs. So in our previous lesson, we looked at domain and range from different sets of coordinate points, from a table, from a mapping diagram. And the very last example did introduce the concept of finding domain and range from a graph. So as far as we're concerned here, domain is your most left point to your most right point and then I'm going to surround this by parentheses and by brackets because we'll kind of examine why you would use one versus the other. So this is all dealing with the x-axis. Now similarly for range, which I'll do in red. Range is your lowest point to your highest. And again, parentheses or brackets because we are going to use interval notation when we are defining our domain and range. And our range is dealing with the y-axis. So use that template that I gave you in class for the graphs of examples 5, 6, 7, and 8. So let's look at example number 5 to start. Now, just as a general reminder, if you have a closed dot, that is when you're using brackets. When you have an open circle, that's when you're using parentheses. And then anytime you have arrows as well, those are also going to be parentheses. So open circles and arrows tell us that we have parentheses here. Now, as far as our domain goes, it's my farthest left point. So this is like the farthest left spot of my graph here to my farthest right point. But if this is an arrow, it's telling me that I'm going to keep going this way. So I'm actually going to positive infinity there. So for a function, yes or no, this one is in fact a function. It passes the vertical line test, right? It's only going to hit one time on each spot. For my domain, my farthest left point is at -5. My farthest right point is infinity. At -5, it was a closed circle, so that is a bracket. And because there was an arrow at the end of my graph here, and with infinity, that makes it a parenthesis. Now for the range, we're going lowest point, and this arrow is gonna keep going down and down and down. I know I'm exaggerating the bend to show that it's going down, but it's going down to negative infinity here. And then the highest point is up here at +4. So my lowest point is negative infinity. My highest point is 4, parenthesis, and bracket. Notice how it kind of looks like a coordinate point. The only difference is that you're using brackets when you have closed dots, or you could have infinities thrown in there. So that's the interval notation that we're using when we're trying to define our domain and range from graphs. This next example is 6. This one I think is a little bit easier because there's no arrows at the end here. So first, function yes or no. This is definitely a yes because, again, vertical line test, it hits it only once each time. So my domain, farthest left point is over here at -6. my farthest right point is here at a positive 3. Negative 6 was closed dot, so that's a bracket. And positive 3 was an open circle, so that is a parenthesis. For the range, the lowest, which is down here at negative 4. And then my highest, be careful because it's not where the end of the graph is here. My highest point is this top part up here. So my highest part is actually 4. And both of those are closed dots, so it's brackets on both. Moving along to example 7. Function yes or no. I can draw vertical lines and see that it's hitting only once each time. So yes, it is in fact a function. For my domain, this one's kind of tricky because this arrow is pointing down and down and down and down and down, but it's also going to the negative infinity all the way out this way. So it is going to negative infinity. That would be my farthest left point. And then also because it's going down and down and down this way, it's going to positive infinity out this way. So it's negative infinity to positive infinity for my domain. Both are using parentheses. For the range, again, this is going down and down and down and down. This is going down and down and down and down to negative infinity. But then it's not going to positive infinity on the up. Instead, it comes up to this top point here, and then it swooshes back down. So my top is actually at 4, where we have a parenthesis on the negative infinity and a bracket on the 4. And then our last problem here, example number 8. Function yes or no. This one's a yes. Passed the vertical line test, so they were all yeses for these examples. My domain, my farthest left point. Here we have an arrow at the end. It's telling me that we're going to keep going this way, down and to the left. So it's going to keep going to negative infinity. But then it stops here at 4, where infinity has a parenthesis, 4 has a bracket. And for the range, this is going down. That's the lowest point of my graph. It's going to keep going down and down and down to negative infinity. And then my highest point of my graph is up here at a positive 1. Again, parentheses on the infinities. You're always going to have parentheses on infinities. And then I have a bracket here on the 1. So make sure you copy these notes into your notebook. We will be going over this in class, but it is very important to understand the concept of domain and range, domain being all of your x points, farthest left to farthest right, and range being all of your y points, lowest to highest. So copy these down and we will discuss